Hello?
Let's play a game.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right?
Maybe. But there's never been one like me, Gale.
You want me.
What's your favorite scary movie? Well, most horror fans know who is calling when they hear that voice on the other end of the phone. And yes, Ghostface is back! Since its debut with the original Scream in 1996, it became a solid series of modern slasher fun. Let's face it, when arguably the worst film in it is Scream 3,
Roman Bridger, director. And brother.
you aren't doing too bad. Even that uneven flick offered clever cameos and had wildly engaging sequences. And with last year's revival giving audiences a couple of new leads with Jenny Ortega and Melissa Barrera, it still made for an enjoyable entry. What's most impressive now is that the sixth film in the franchise, for this viewer, is the best sequel since Part 2. Considering this sixth entry could have been a rushed mess, it's far from it. Jason Takes Manhattan, this is not. Sam and Tara Carpenter have moved to the Big Apple for school after the events in the previous film. Joining them are fellow survivors Mindy and Chad Meeks Martin. They've met some new friends, and Sam and Tara are coping with the horrors they faced. While Tara avoids it, Sam has been traumatized by hateful social media due to being Billy Loomis's daughter. Yeah, that can kinda suck. Yet after a brutal murder, the kind that always opens these flicks, the phone calls began again. Yet the rules have changed this time and nobody is safe, not even the one holdover from the original film, Gale Weathers.
It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
And none of it takes place on a boat. You know, as much as I'm bashing on Friday the 13th Part 8, I still kind of love that movie. Now, I'm being vague about the plot here because I don't want to be the one spoiling the fun. Considering this film is about a sequel to a requel, it would be easy to slip up and give away too much. Once again, directed by the talented duo of Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, what could have been a rushed and lazy sequel, Scream 6 excels and moves the franchise in a new direction without sacrificing what makes these flicks engagingly creepy and fun and entertaining. And then there's a sharp script by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. Considering it took only a year for a new sequel, like in the early days of Friday the 13th, when Paramount begrudgingly kept the series going, the sixth Scream is a massive success. The opening sequence here is something we haven't seen done in this way before. Using the New York setting and switching things up slightly already have you questioning what is about to transpire. As I said, even mentioning who is involved would spoil too much. However, having the call start in a crowded and trendy bar in a New York restaurant was a nice touch. And after a satisfying beginning, we see that Sam and her sister have moved far away from Woodsboro to start life in New York. Sam is facing abuse online regarding her involvement in the massacre, and Tara is trying to forget by normalizing everything. Yet when the news breaks that a gruesome murder took place involving the ghost face mask and somehow connecting with Sam, they soon realize that hell has come to their new abode. Scream 6 introduces us to many new characters. This includes Dermot Mulroney as Detective Bailey. The sequel also brings back Kirby Reed, played by the lovely Hayden Panettiere. It's a fine collection of characters, and most importantly, the core four last year's survivors have become part of the franchise mythology. Mason, Mindy, Sam, and Tara have come into their own with this sequel, requel, whatever it's called. It's fun to say. Requel sequel. As for Courtney Cox, seeing Gale Weathers back in action is still a pleasure, and frankly, I was happy to see the series going in a new direction. Scream 6 starts a brand new tale, and it feels right at home, commandeering this horror ship in a new direction, and yes, another Jason Takes Manhattan reference! Let's talk about Ghostface. He's peeved and ready to mangle in this installment. The kills are extra stabby this time, and moments of suspense are as thrilling as the car crash scene in Scream 2. One moment involving escaping from an apartment high above the ground is super tension-fueled. The suspense builds throughout this wild ride, more than a few surprises coming up. Thankfully, there's enough to keep this flick racing. While I wonder if it's possible to even live up to the visceral shock of how great the original film is, this is one sequel that brings the series back on track in a way that moves the series forward in a good and satisfying way. Scream 6 is a massive surprise, guys. It's tense, scary, and fun, and I already feel comfortable with the new players involved. Considering that the filmmakers are taking over where Kevin Williamson and the late great Wes Craven finished off, it's a pleasure to witness this meta-slasher series thrive once again. You will thoroughly enjoy the newest installment if you are a Scream fan. While you won't see over-the-top and imaginative kills per se like you would in a, one of those movies, you'll see a ghost face ready to slaughter victims with glee. I mean, super stabby, guys. Seriously, this time around, they take stab to a whole new level. And yes, New York is an excellent replacement for the quaint yet deadly Woodsboro. Scream 6 is a bloody good delight. I'm giving this one, yes, a 9 out of 10. I know, it's a high grade, but I love these movies. This is one of my favorites. Keep reading, guys. Check out our other reviews, news, and all of that at JoBlo.com and our mini YouTube channels. Thanks for listening. Give this one a scream this Friday at theaters near you.